Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. In this talk, we are going to show you a new product to use machine learning in Google Sheet without coding and without knowing much about machine learning. We have called this product Simple ML for Sheets, where ML stands for machine learning. I'll be giving this talk with Richard. He's also a software engineer working on Simple ML, and you will see him presenting the demo. Here's a quick outline of the presentation. A good example is worth 1,000 words, so we will start with two demos of Simple ML for Sheets. You will first see how to predict missing value in a spreadsheet. While predicting missing values sounds simple, it's very useful when values are unknown or when they're available but expensive to obtain. Then, in a second demo, you will see how to do forecasting. Forecasting means predicting future value, and it's very useful for decision making. In the demo, we will use forecasting to predict sales of a business, and I'm sure you can see the value that forecasting sales can bring. Each demo will run in 2 clicks, but a lot will be going on in the background. This is a kind of power Simple ML for Sheets bring. Finally, in the third part, we will talk about how Simple ML works and how a technical user can benefit from it. And with that, I will hand it over to Richard for the demo.
Thank you, Mathieu. To make our first demo more exciting, I invite you to consider the following scenario. Suppose you are a biologist who studies penguins in Antarctica. During your last expedition, you visited a number of penguin colonies. You measured the size, weight, and other data of many penguins. In total, you recorded data for 300 penguins. Unfortunately, you were distracted by the beauty of Antarctica, and you forgot to record the species, chinstrap, gentoo, or adelie, for around 30 of the penguins. Now you have a spreadsheet with all your penguin data, but 30 values are missing. Can we use Simple ML to recover those missing values? Let's find out. This is a spreadsheet containing all the information you collected about the penguins. Each row represents a single penguin and shows its attributes. The last column, called Species, contains the penguin species, adelie, gentoo, or chinstrap. You can see that some species values are missing. Those are the values you forgot to record. Let's use Simple ML to recover them. First, start the add-on in the extension menu. After a few seconds, the Simple ML sidebar appears. And this sidebar works as follows. You start by choosing a task describing what you want to do. Next, you configure this task. And finally, you run the task. So, back to our penguins, we want to recover the missing values of the species column. So we select the Predict Missing Values task. Then we configure the task. Here we want to make sure that the species column is indeed selected. Finally, we press Predict. And that's it. The task is now running. This may take a couple of seconds. And it's done. Simple ML for Sheets has computed the missing values. For each missing value, we can see the predicted value here. For example, this animal is a gentoo, and the model is pretty certain about this, over 99% confidence. Let's summarize what we did in this first demo. First, we reached our goal. We successfully predicted the missing values in our sheet. Now we know the species of all the penguins. In addition, we also know how confident we can be in the predictions made by Simple ML for Sheets. This is important because machine learning can sometimes make mistakes, and it is important to understand when it is likely to do so. And finally, and probably the most exciting part, we did this without writing a single line of code. In fact, we mostly had to click on a single blue button. Not too bad. Next, we are excited to share the latest feature of Simple ML for Sheets, forecasting. Forecasting means predicting future values from past ones. This is a challenging task that has fascinated people for a long time because knowing what will happen in the future is key for decision making. Let's see how we can use SimpleML for Sheets to do forecasting. Once again, I invite you to consider a real-world scenario. Imagine you are a manager of a fantastic Swiss restaurant. You know that your restaurant could reduce food waste if you knew ahead of time which menus your customers want to order over the next 4 weeks. However, just following your instincts has proven difficult for this task. You might also want to plan how many staff members you need to hire and many other business decisions. With forecasting, you can use the information about past sales to anticipate future sales. This enables you to plan better and make more sustainable decisions for your business. Let's see how this works using SimpleML for Sheets. Let's go back to Google Sheets. This spreadsheet contains all the information you collected about the restaurant's sales data. You see that the restaurant has data for 5 menu items: sparkling water, lemonade, raclette, fondue, and chocolate. In addition, items are categorized as drinks, main dish, or dessert. As you know, Google Sheets is an excellent tool for data visualization, so we already created a plot of the past sales of those items. If we scroll down, we see the future dates for which we want to forecast. Let's use SimpleML to generate this forecast. You can see that we already started SimpleML for Sheets, so choose the Forecast Future Values tasks from the task selection. SimpleML for Sheets has already selected all menu items for forecasting, and this is what we want. We press Forecast to run the forecasting algorithms, and that's it. The task is now running. This may take a couple of seconds, and it's done. We see the future sales in the sheet. Let's add these forecasted values to the chart to see if they are reasonable. Just double-click on the chart and then on Add Series. Pick Pred Sparkling Water to see the predictions for sparkling water in our chart. Those look pretty reasonable. The forecasting algorithm is clearly able to identify the seasonal patterns in our data. Let's summarize the benefits of forecasting with SimpleML for Sheets in this use case. You know now the likely sales over the next 4 weeks. You did not write a single line of code. You can start to forecast other aspects of your business in a similar way. There are many exciting possibilities. For instance, you can forecast the number of clients over the next week, or forecast the maintenance cost of your equipment.
So, you've just seen how to do machine learning without doing any machine learning work, and I'm sure you liked it. However, if you're already familiar with ML, you might want more control of what is happening. For example, you might want to train model and configure hyperparameter. You might want to evaluate, interpret, or even combine model. The great news is SimpleML allows you to do exactly that. SimpleML contains advanced tasks, for example. You can train a model, evaluate a model, and so on. Simple and powerful. And if you are really serious, you can even export model to, let's say, TensorFlow and use them in a Colab. In conclusion, I hope those examples piqued your curiosity to install SimpleML for Sheet and start experimenting with it. As you saw, there is no coding involved and you do not need to know machine learning to get results. In addition, all operations such as the model training are done exclusively in your browser on your computer, which means that your data stay in Google Sheet and on your computer. In addition, for advanced ML users or for those who are learning about machine learning, SimpleML gives you control. You have seen in the demo that operations were almost instantaneous. This was real time. SimpleML is fast, generally running just in seconds, which is fantastic for fast iteration. And it gives you great results. In fact, SimpleML uses some of the same learning algorithm that TensorFlow uses. Finally, SimpleML is compatible with a rich ecosystem of tools and libraries. For example, you can export your model to TensorFlow and TensorFlow.js, but you can also run them directly in C++ or even in Go using Yggdrasil decision forests. And this is the end of this talk. Please visit our website to try SimpleML for Sheet. If you only have 5 minutes, I recommend that you start with the first tutorial. If you have questions, please ask them in the user group. And of course, feedback are always welcome. And for advanced user, I also put the link of Yggdrasil Decision Forest and TensorFlow. On this note, I want to thank you for your time, and we hope you will find Simple ML Flowsheet useful in your works and projects.